Hello everyone, Andy Rafael from eTechnics.com, and today is all about NVIDIA. So obviously NVIDIA, they haven't really done a lot recently. It's been more about AMD. AMD have released 6 new graphics cards in the past 3 months with the 7750, 7770, 7850, 7870, 7950, 7970, and coming up soon maybe 7990 dual GPU card. But for NVIDIA, they've literally been it's been a bit like flogging a dead horse basically with the GTX 580 and the rest of the 500 series. Obviously it's done them well, they have done pretty good in the market, but they needed something new, which leads us to today, which is all about the GTX 680, codenamed Kepler. And really, this is going to be like one of our normal graphics card reviews. We have got a few other articles that we're doing in terms of the technologies involved behind the GTX 680, the actual full written review of the card that is sitting next to me right now, and then we're going to do a few other little bits and bobs as well from when we actually went to an NVIDIA event. Now, I just want to actually touch on that ever so slightly in the hope that NVIDIA may be watching this video. We ended up going to an NVIDIA event that was all about this graphics card. They were showing off some of the new technologies like GPU boost, the fact that you can use NVIDIA Surround using 3 screens plus a full screen for other activities using one card, which you never was able to do before. And we basically went all the way to London and spent our time as well as money on getting there, and in the hope of obviously that would do good in terms of us getting samples from NVIDIA for this exact launch for the GTX 680. Well, after speaking to NVIDIA, it seemed that they didn't have enough samples. They only had sort of 3. They had to go to the biggest review sites in the UK, for the most part some of them who didn't even attend the event. So I'd just like to say thank you to NVIDIA for wasting our time, wasting our money, and there you go. So luckily, we've got friends in very, very high places, and it's nothing to do with NVIDIA. So we are able to get cards from other places and it not affect anything. So whether NVIDIA like this video or not, they probably won't, because in a way we are sort of bitching about them. But if they don't, I mean, what are they honestly going to do? Cut us off from something that we don't get in the first place? Not really too bothered. So that's my little rant really over, and I know that a couple of other review sites across the world are feeling exactly the same in terms of NVIDIA, and that's why they've actually published this review early. We promised to the mystery person who gave us this card that we would publish on time, and we wouldn't be one of those who actually publishes things early in terms of this launch. But obviously that all depends on what's going to happen in the future, and then if NVIDIA are actually going to show us some support and some love, because at the moment they're not. So that leads us on to today with what we're actually looking at, which is the Palit GeForce GTX 680. So a little bit about the 680. Really, I don't really want to delve too much into the technology, because we have got Chris actually writing up an article all about the GTX 680 technologies, what it's got to offer in terms of you know, power efficiency, some of the new features such as GPU boost, which is sort of on the fly overclocking and things like that, and Chris has got all that in hand. I really want to focus more on the actual card itself and the performance. Now, as you know, if you have watched any of our graphics card reviews in the past, you'll know the sort of general way that we do things. So we do a sort of unboxing, first look at the card, and then we go straight into the performance figures, and then you'll see me at the end sort of summarising things up. Now, because it is an NVIDIA based day, I thought I'd also show some love to KFA2. So I'm wearing my lovely KFA2 hoodie. Generally I'll just be wearing a t-shirt, but I thought I'd show some love to some of the companies out there who do support us. So thank you, KFA2. And in regards to KFA2 and their samples, we should be receiving something in the next couple of weeks. The reason we haven't got anything at the moment is today's launch day. NVIDIA have clearly expressed to their partners that they should not be shipping cards out until today, which leads me to sort of ask, if you're looking at buying a GTX 680, are you going to go out and buy one without looking at a review? Bearing in mind it's going to be anywhere between £400 to £500 depending on the brand and everything. Some are going to be, you know, the lower scale of 400, some be the slightly higher scale. But are you physically going to go out and buy a card knowing that it could, I don't know, let's take the iPad 3 for instance, it could overheat, which as we know the iPad 3 is. So it's only the fact that for some reviews and people getting first-hand information that they've actually sort of stepped back and said, I'm going to wait until I get my new iPad. Same thing with this, it could overheat, it could blow up, it could do anything, who knows. But Nvidia are saying this is a hard launch, not a paper launch, but what they mean by that is that there is stock in the retail channels, so you can physically go out and buy these cards at 1 o'clock, which is when we will be publishing this video on the 22nd of March 2012, but there's not going to be many reviews out. Luckily we were able to get our cards so we can do that. A couple of other sites in the UK and all over the world are able to do the same thing, but if they didn't have samples then it just would have screwed things completely. So luckily we were able to go to our other sources and get this card. But yeah, I just think Nvidia have done a really lousy, sloppy way of doing things, especially telling the partners that they can't actually start shipping the cards out until today, meaning that they won't get it until tomorrow or the next couple of days, or if it, depending on where it's coming from, the next sort of week or so. I mean, we're in the UK, it could be coming from Hong Kong or Taiwan, or the US, it could take up to a week. So yeah, slight sort of issues with that, but I digress a little bit. With the KFA2 samples, they're not too keen on this whole reference launch thing. Obviously they have to do it, that's part of Nvidia's stipulation. Same with what we've got here, it's a reference card with a sticker on it, nothing too exciting. Well, it is exciting for the actual card itself, but hasn't got any sort of personal touch from Palit. Same with KFA2, they've got their cards, reference design, just got a sticker on it, but we do know for a fact that in the next couple of weeks these different brands, EVGA included, are going to be bringing out new solutions with custom coolers, extreme overclock versions, water-cooled versions with EVGA hydrocopper and things like that. We're going to see it all in the next couple of weeks. So what I'd say is, if you are looking at one of these cards, before I've even shown you the performance figures, if you are looking for one, wait. Just wait until the custom design comes out where you can get slightly extra performance, a much better cooler. Not that this one is bad, and you will see the results that we got from you know, power, acoustics and temperatures as well. It's not a bad cooler, but if you can wait a couple of weeks and sort of see if there are any initial problems, and maybe even bag yourself a better one from the likes of EVGA, which is going to obviously have a really good warranty on it. Palit, I'm pretty sure they're going to be bringing out their own sort of custom solution of it, and hopefully after this, because this is the first time we've been working with Palit, but hopefully after this we can start working with them a little bit further to sort of start a relationship up and get some custom cards in. So, I've been rambling long enough. What we're going to do is we're going to bring you in closer, have a look at the packaging a little bit, see what it's all about, then have a look at the card in some detail. The design is quite sort of quirky, still a reference design, but it's got some nice little unique features on it. And then after we've done that, we'll show you all the benchmark figures for the cards that we'd normally do at 3 resolutions. That'll be 1680 by 1050, 1920 by 1080, and of course using Nvidia Surround, which is going to work it out 5760 by 1080. Something that we haven't been able to do with our SLI, which takes the whole sort of object away from benchmarking a single graphics card, and the GTX 590 dual GPU. They were the only ones that could do Nvidia Surround. Now we are looking at a single card being able to run 3 screens at 5760 by 1080. So watch out AMD, this is going to rival your AMD Infinity supposedly, and we'll find out exactly how this gets on at all 3 resolutions. So for now, let's bring you in closer and have a look at the Palit GeForce GTX 680 2GB graphics card. So guys, let's start really by unboxing the Palit GeForce GTX 680. So this is the box that you get it in. Straight away you can see it's actually quite a big box. If you were to compare it to sort of, you know, a higher spec card, maybe even, not a higher spec card, but a high-ish spec card from AMD, 7850, you can see really the sort of size comparison. If I put it into that corner, it's quite a lot larger, so that obviously indicates that it's going to be quite a long card, so you think. On the front we can see it's quite simple really. Palit have gone for quite a simple design, but this is just a reference card. Obviously with overclock editions they may decide to do something a little bit more crazy, or even with a custom cooler they might want to show the product off a little bit more. So on the front, the main thing that takes it up is this massive engine here, and this is to do with the Palit 3D graphics engine. Nice chrome engine here, nice graphics, all very la-di-da. So the card's made by Palit, and some of the main features from NVIDIA are on the top. So we've got 3D vision, PhysX, 3-way SLI, GPU boost, 4 concurrent displays, 28nm technology, and PCI Express 3.0. It's the GeForce GTX 680, and it comes with 2GB of GDDR5 memory. Now, other than that, there's not much really on the sides apart from this side, where we can see a little bit of information on the 4 concurrent displays. Obviously, with NVIDIA, it has required you to either have a GTX 590, which is a dual GPU card, or 2 cards in SLI to get multiple displays working. But with this, you can run 4 displays. So it just really gives you through the different configurations. So DVI, DisplayPort, HDMI, what resolutions you can run at, and so forth. So that's obviously quite a good selling point for NVIDIA, the fact that they've sort of caught up with AMD in terms of multi-monitor configurations. So now looking at the back, we can see on here their main selling points is they've got their sort of faster, smoother, smarter. For the faster, they're showing off Battlefield 3 and how you can obviously push performance of the graphics card. Smoother is all to do with obviously the different technologies, including adaptive vertical sync, which we will talk about in a separate article because there's a lot to go through. And then smarter, showing off Batman Arkham City, which is really just your technology in terms of NVIDIA Surround, PhysX, and really being a smarter based card. Down here are the minimum system requirements. The main one that people are really going to care about is a minimum of 550 watt power supply or greater. Other than that, as long as you've got 2 6-pin PCI Express slots and the relevant slot on your motherboard, you should be okay. Memory wise and things like that, not a mass amount needed. In terms of specifications, we've got the technical specs up here in English, and this is listed in 12 different languages, including French, German, Hungarian, Italian, and so forth, all down this one side. Turning the box back over, what we'll do is actually get this unboxed. Now, we have had it out of the box already, so I'm not going to lie to you and say we're getting a first look at this. We've already seen it. So some padded material in there. Accessory wise, we do get a twin 4-pin Molex to 6-pin PCI Express adapter, so that shows us straight away that there's going to be a 6-pin power adapter on here. We also get a DVI to VGA adapter, quite old school, but some people are still rocking VGA, so that's going to come in handy. The graphics card comes in an anti-static bag, but before I get to that, I'm going to take out this protective foam material to reveal what else comes included, which is a quick installation guide, and this comes in English, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Polish, Portuguese, Romanian, Russian, Spanish, and Turkish. So lots of information here with relevant different sort of pictures, screenshots on obviously installing the card and the relevant drivers as well. And then you also get the graphics card, driver, and utility disc as well. Now, putting that to one side so we can go back to the actual card itself. As said, it comes in this protective sort of foam-like material and comes in an anti-static bag as well. Taking the card out of the packaging, we can see, as I say, we have opened it already. But the card itself comes in an anti-static bag and also has this sort of cellophane-y type protective material over the top. If we take that off, then we get a first glimpse at the Palit GeForce GTX 680. Now, today is all about reference designs, and that's exactly what we've got here. We have got an NVIDIA reference design with a Palit sticker on there. Very, very simple. The cover is made out of plastic, and it does encompass the whole card from the back to the front, from the top to the bottom, with just the PCI Express finger or connector on display. There is a fan over here, which is a typical fan design that we've seen on both NVIDIA and AMD graphics cards, which is situated near the end of the card, will bring in cool air, a bit like a turbine fan, and then push it down the card, obviously turning that into hot air, and then exhaust out the back of the card, which we will show you the different ventilation bits on this card. It's black, it's very simple, but over time in the next couple of weeks we should see the likes of Palit, among other manufacturers, developing custom cooler designs, maybe with a single fan, dual fan, and even the likes of people like KFA2, we could probably expect them to have a triple fan design if they can fit it onto this card. As you can see, it's not the largest card on the market. There are a lot larger graphics cards in terms of especially the offerings from AMD. It's a dual slot cooler, so you can see that it will take up 2 expansion bays in your case, and the cooler won't protrude over that either. Turning the card around a little bit, we can see on this side there's absolutely nothing. There's a very, very small gap for ventilation, but nothing quite extreme as we would have hoped for. On this side, they've done things slightly differently with the PCI Express adapters. We assumed, being a GeForce GTX 680, a high-end card, there'd be a 6-pin and 8-pin, but instead, this goes to show how power efficient this is going to be. There are 2 6-pin PCI Express connectors, and they're both situated actually one above the other instead of side by side. It's quite odd though how they've actually done this, as one of the PCI Express adapters goes this way, and the other one you have to sort of turn it up the other way to go in. Not a big deal or anything, but very different to say the least. Branding wise, if we turn it over, you can see the new GeForce GTX branding coming in this sort of green. Now, when I first saw this, I could only think of one thing, and that was Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. It seems to have the same sort of font that you'd expect, bright green as well, obviously for Nvidia, but it just reminds me of that sort of Batman Arkham City, Arkham Asylum with the likes of Bane and the Venom and things like that. It's that sort of colouring and that sort of font. I may be getting a little bit carried away here, but that's what it reminds me of. Looking at the back of the card, we can see that it has a black PCB. It's just a reference PCB. Other manufacturers, when they start bringing out their own designs, may go with a custom one. But we can see plenty of different mounting points on here for the cooler. And then obviously the graphics card is mounted by these 4 screws here. With a little sticker on this one in case you do take that off, it will void your warranty. Looking at capabilities for SLI, we can see that there are 2 SLI connectors, and it's just a matter of getting your bridges. It means by having 2 that you can utilise up to 4 GPUs, which I will warn you will cost you close to £2,000 in total for 4 of these, but you will get the very best performance possible. We are actually in talks with the likes of people at Asus at the moment to see if we can get 4 cards. What we'll actually do then is show you performance of one of them, because it will be a custom card, DirectCU2. We will then put 2 cards in for 2-way SLI, 3-way SLI and 4-way SLI, so we should have plenty of content in terms of multi-GPU technology. Lastly, really looking at the connectors on the back, as said, it has got 2 expansion bays in your chassis to take up. The first one is taken up by a lot of ventilation holes, with another couple down here to obviously exhaust that hot air out the back of your chassis. We've got a single link DVI connector up here, a dual link DVI connector here, HDMI and full size DisplayPort, and this does support Nvidia Surround from 1 card. So what you can actually do is you can connect 4 devices up to this, 3 with you playing a game, and the other one maybe monitoring your performance in terms of power, the core clock speed and things like that, because this has got features like GPU boost. I'm not going to really delve too much into the features on this card, because the reason is we have got a whole article based around this which is going live hopefully very, very soon, if it hasn't already by the time of publishing this video. But it will mention things like GPU boost, it will mention the Nvidia Surround features of this card, the power delivery on this card, and much, much more. So check that out, that's on eTechnics.com. But what we're going to do right now is get this put into the test bench, get the benchmarks for all of the various different tools that we use, 3D Mark 11, Heaven, Batman, Dirt 3, Formula 1, 2011, Mafia 2, Metro 2033, and also look at the acoustic values of the fan, the temperatures that this card produces, and the power consumption that it produces, complete with the rest of our rig. So boys and girls, we've all seen the benchmark results, and some of you may be a little bit surprised, some of you may sort of know in advance. There was obviously a lot of rumours about the GTX 680, its performance, so a lot of you may have sort of taken that with a pinch of salt. A lot of you may have taken it as gospel and then seen the results today and sort of put two and two together and realised some of them were true, some of them were absolute bullshit. So there you go. But we did see some really strong results across multiple resolutions, 1680, 1920 and obviously using NVIDIA Surround in certain games. Obviously when you look at our benchmark tools, a lot of people are going to say that's biased, they're NVIDIA based games, blah 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 blah. Really couldn't give a shit. We've always used them benchmark games. As new games come out, we do sort of try and develop into them and start to use them, and there's probably going to be a lot of people commenting on this video saying, where the hell is Battlefield 3? Well, Battlefield 3 is not here, so go find it somewhere else. Purely because we like to use benchmark tools that are accurate, and Battlefield 3 is the furthest thing from accurate. When we benchmark, we use included benchmark tools, so that's the likes of Batman Arkham City using their integrated benchmark tool. Metro 2033 has an integrated benchmark tool. Alien vs Predator, there's a benchmark tool that you can actually get for it. Now, Battlefield 3, there is nada, nothing, zilch, nothing at all, okay? And if you wanted to benchmark, you can never make it a 100% accurate test. In benchmark tools, you are looking at a sequence of videos and render footage that runs exactly the same frame by frame. If you're playing Battlefield 3, the only way to benchmark it is to open up Fraps or something similar and run around and shoot people and measure what your average frame rate is. Now that's all well and good, but then if you want to run the same test on another graphics card, you have to run exactly the same route, shoot exactly the same amount of bullets at exactly the same time, and if you can't do that, which I can tell you now you cannot do that, not exactly precise, even if you take 1 foot in the wrong direction as you're walking through Battlefield 3, that is going to hinder the results that little bit, it's going to skew it that little bit. So there is no accurate way. So for all the Battlefield 3 fanboys out there who are expecting Battlefield 3 results from us, sorry, but not going to happen. So that's my other little rant over. Obviously I had my one about NVIDIA earlier, that's my rant about benchmarks. But as you could see, the GTX 680 pretty much decimated everything across most of the benchmark tests. So 3D Mark 11, it absolutely caned it. Heaven absolutely obliterated things. It really blew the AMD 7970, even the overclock edition, out the water. Certain tests, Alien vs Predator, it was the other way, with the 7970 actually doing slightly better than the GTX 680. Whether that is because this is a new technology and an update is needed, who knows? Maybe it's something they could fix in drivers, once again, who knows? Or maybe it just prefers AMD graphics cards. Batman Arkham City, not really what we expected. Thought the GTX 680 was going to do a lot better, considering that you know, Batman really is aimed towards NVIDIA. But we all know that Batman Arkham City had some initial problems with DirectX 11, so maybe a further update from the publishers and the developers of Batman Arkham City is needed to really get the most out of this card. In terms of acoustics, we were quite pleasantly surprised with that. We did actually mention in our written article that we think a lot of you are going to be quite surprised by the acoustic side of things. Temperatures, really good. Obviously moving forward from the older days with the GTX 500 series, but the temperatures are really good. And then also the power consumption, it's quite an iffy one because you can get some decent power consumption from this card, but it all depends on what you want to do, how you want to do it. So, obviously, we haven't mentioned it too much in this video. I don't think I've actually mentioned it at all until now, but there is sort of this technology GPU boost, which Chris is writing an article on. Go check it out, it's on etechnics.com as we speak. And what this will actually do is it will allow you to overclock between X and X. So you've got like this little envelope of power which gives you your overclock, and you can increase that or, you know, sort of decrease it as well. So it's up to you whether you need, you know, that extra power efficiency or if you want the extra performance. Entirely up to you. Quite pleased really with the GTX 680 from Palit. I would like to comment more on Palit, but I can't because this is just a reference card with a sticker on it. So sadly I can't do much in terms of that. Hopefully we will get other cards from Palit that, you know, custom exotic ones, so a better cooler. Also in terms of overclock additions, maybe they might jazz things up in another way and add technology, that kind of thing. But very, very interesting to say the least. NVIDIA Surround is something that I've been really keen to get on board, because at the moment I use a 7970, upgraded actually from a 6990 purely because it was too hot, too noisy, and I've been wanting to go to NVIDIA in my own personal rendering system for quite some time, but I didn't really want to have the extra power gain of having 2 graphics cards just to run 3 screens. So now I have the facility to do so, which is great. But one thing that you guys might not know is the fact that now that NVIDIA can support 4 displays, isn't that something that a certain NVIDIA partner developed quite some time ago? I'm not going to mention any names, any brands at all. None at all. Not going to mention any names or any brands of any graphics card partner of NVIDIA, especially not KFA2. But basically, coming up maybe to a year ago now, they developed some MDT technology which could utilise 4 displays from their graphics cards, and they did release them as sort of a couple of cards as a render sort of workstation card. Not render workstation, more sort of just your general work usage, so you can have, you know, multiple things on different screens. But then they started developing it into actual proper GPU graphics cards that could utilise that, as well as the performance that you needed from a graphics card. So it sort of delved more into the gaming sort of area. And suddenly NVIDIA now have this technology. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm not saying NVIDIA stole the technology, I'm not saying anything of the sort. Make up your own conclusion, but it's funny how KFA2 had it, now NVIDIA have got it all across the board. So very interesting to say the least. This has been quite a funny video to make, I can honestly say, purely because I wanted to have a little rant about NVIDIA. I wanted to have a little rant about some of the other things revolving around this card, and I think I've done that. But I think I've also got to the point in terms of performance, showing you the benchmarks, acoustics, noise, temperatures, and what's to come in the future, really. So we should see some decent stuff, hopefully from Palit. Palit, if you are watching this, we want to work with you more. Give us more stuff, custom, overclock, whatever. We want to check it out. Hopefully, what we're going to do is we're going to get some other cards as well, run it in SLI so you guys can see exactly how the GTX 680 performs in SLI. Hopefully we'll be able to do dual SLI, tri, and even quad. I've got to really sort of beg to some of the companies out there to see what they can give me. And then also we're going to do an article based around overclocking. We have got an article that Chris has done in terms of the technology behind this, where we will talk more about GPU boost. We'll talk more about the sort of power delivery and the efficiency of this card, the NVIDIA Surround features, among much else. But for now, this was the review of the Palit GeForce GTX 680. Award-wise, I'd say it's a tough one to do. It is an extreme performer. I know for a fact that it can overclock well. Bang for buck wise, it's competing with the 7970. So yes, you could complain it is quite expensive, but it's competing with the 7970, especially some of the overclock ones, which it did even beat in our benchmarks. The only problem, obviously, the reference cooler, it is reference, but it's still a good cooler. It's quiet, it's efficient. So at the end of the day, I'm going to have to give it an Editor's Choice Award. It is a fantastic card. It's good to see how NVIDIA have sort of, you know, broken the mould, so to speak. They've torn it up and started from scratch. A whole new PCB, whole new technology, lots of new features, and over the next sort of coming days and the next couple of weeks, we should have a lot more content based around this card, what it can do, how far it can be pushed, what some of the main features are of it, and what it can do in SLI. So there you go, and obviously what the partners come up with in terms of custom and overclock editions. So for now, Editor's Choice Award, Palit GeForce GTX 680, 2GB graphics card, Andy Rafael from eTechnics.com, with quite a big smile on my face. I also want to see how well this can do at rendering, but that's for another time, another day, when I've got more time to even, you know, think about doing something like that. But for now, Andy Rafael from eTechnics.com signing off. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to subscribe, comment, let us know what you thought about the Palit GeForce GTX 680, and whether you agree with us that Nvidia screwed us over. But there you go. Yeah, let us know what you think, and until next time guys, we will see you later. Bye bye.